Mhm.
There we go. Okay. Amy Doyo is who we're going to be talking to today. She was a student in my three-dimensional design class, and she went on after Rio Hondo to Cal State Long Beach. Many of our students have gone to Long Beach. The computer people are kind of gravitating toward Fullerton, and the graphic arts people, the painters and draftsmen and those people are gravitating toward Long Beach. Both have excellent programs in all of that stuff. And so I'm happy to see them progress and anxious to see all the stuff that she's doing. When you were at Rio Hondo, you took everything, and I know you won some awards for outstanding student in the art department, which were well earned. Well earned. Everybody just loved you. I was loving you from my 3D class, and then I find out, wow, hell of a painter. She's drawing, she's doing everything, and all the other teachers are going, oh no, Amy, you know Amy. You know? So yeah, I'm really excited about what you're doing now. So tell people kind of what you're up to.
Well, still painting, not as much drawing. I'm having a hard, if I'm drawing, I'm sketching. It's not like I'm doing full render drawings or something.
Like you're doing drawings to paint, drawings for ideas.
I feel like drawing for me takes more time. I don't know. And painting, I could do it fast. I can set up fast, clean up fast for me, I guess. But drawing, I feel like I have
It's
to
me.
sit
I
down.
paint until I'm exhausted and I don't clean up, and it's terrible.
I think I'm more energized painting. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, so what are you taking at Long Beach now?
Well, I'm in the BFA program for drawing and painting. So I'm taking all those courses this semester. I have life drawing and life painting, both
Nice.
advanced classes. And those are kind of my two studio classes. And then I think extra, 1 unit classes that are those other.
And I know you're frustrated because here you're going to Cal State Long Beach and you haven't set foot on the campus because all of this.
It's like I'm going, but I've never been. It actually feels like I've never transferred. I still feel like I'm at Rio Hondo since I'm working there.
Right.
So it's a weird limbo that I'm in, but
Yeah.
I'm meeting so many people and I love my professors there.
That's great.
And this semester, since I'm in the BFA program and I have that group there, that's been like my core support group of these friends. And this is the first time I've met like other students who are artists that are really passionate the same thing, and we could just geek out about everything, and like,
isn't that cool?
I had that at Rio Hondo, but I think at Long Beach, because it's this like program of this concentrated study, it's like we're all just geeks together. I love it. So that has been really really like amazing so far.
The wonderful part of your college career where you're eating, breathing, sleeping, eating, drinking art. It's everything. And that's intense.
And this semester, it's like we're just transferring with these students together. It really feels like we're surviving together. Like we're all struggling together and
yes.
push each other.
Same lifeboat.
Yeah. So that it's been really awesome to have those people. Yeah.
Yeah. And under adverse conditions, that bonding really does mean a lot. I can't think of worse conditions to be trying to be an art student, because having somebody there helping you is different than having somebody on the screen talking at you. I struggle with it. and my students, I have to ask them for advice of what I'm doing wrong on their computer to help them, you know. So they help me figure it out. And Lindsay has been my IT person. So she's all the time just there helping me out. So I like that. But there's aspects about it that I really like. Like right now I'm teaching, but I'm having them also turn their things in on Canvas, because it goes right into a grading program, and everything is
That
there.
saves
I'm
so much
teaching them
time.
how to photograph their work and do minor editing on their phone. They can do it, edit their images and make them look more like they actually look than bad lighting and everything else that goes. But they're really responding to it, because that's how they're going to, if they're going to be showing things to customers now, we don't mat the work and bring it to the customer and say, here it is. Everything is like this online. And so I'm trying to help them like that.
I think that's another thing that I also gained from just transitioning from online. It's like because my last semester during the pandemic was at Rio Hondo, and I did have to learn how to photograph my work really well, because that was the
Right.
only way. And I realized, like, wow, that's part of the art world that you're gonna really have to learn anyway. So
Exactly. It is, it's standard for the arts right now, is that's how you do everything. You sell work. I had students sell projects out of my class. I can't, I just can't
that's
do that.
right.
I don't know how to do it. You know, I never have been a good salesman for my own work, because I buy my own sales pitch. Uh, when I used to paint murals, it was always like that. You tell, oh, it's going to be great, it's going to be this, and then you start doing it and you try to make it in your head, not theirs. You know, it was always a trade-off, because I didn't want to do anything inferior.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, so what kind of pieces are you working on now?
Well, maybe I should show you. Let's try to, want me to try to
Sure.
share the screen?
Can you screen share or?
Yes, let's do this.
Okay.
Okay. I do my desktop. Okay, what do you see?
I see strata
Okay.
coming out of the ocean with a big fissure running through it. Rio Hondo, spring 2020. Drawing in the grocery store.
So I did have this, I wanted to show like where I last left off at Rio Hondo, you know, and I was taking Margaret's the last advanced drawing.
Right.
So and it was during the pandemic, and that's what I was experiencing. And how can you not put that in your work right now? So
Yeah.
that's what I was capturing here. And this was basically what we're going through. This was my mom in the grocery store. And I highlighted like everything in blue, that, I don't know, just showing that detail of the pandemic work that was kind of everybody was going through. So I have my sister, we made our own mask. I have my other little sister just being indoors and then masked up in public. And this was kind of the process. I always like sharing my process, you know, because I love seeing how where I started and then where I ended, you know, that sometimes like I forget, like I look at my past work and I'm like, how did I do that?
Yeah.
I'd be stuck, you know, so many times. So
It's just because you're responding, and a lot of it is becoming inside, you know, it just becomes it's right there at the surface when you call on it. Your skills. That's what helps you. Once you develop skills, then you're able to utilize those skills to express whatever it is. And gee, the things that we're going through right now are horrendous. Interesting, I've been talking with my students currently about it, but did you find that there was almost like an a second incarnation of the family, like you bonded even more with your siblings than you had before. You started finding out things about them that you didn't know.
Definitely. And you know what? In my education, we were all homeschooled in my family. So you
Uh-huh.
can imagine how close we were then, just already doing our work together. And then, for a while, we all went to college, and it was kind of weird coming back. And I'm like, man, it's homeschool all over again.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It was crazy. And like, I don't know. I really like experiencing being in community college at such a young age, and finally getting out of being homeschooled. And
How
then you
old
come
were
back,
you when you started at Rio Hondo?
16 turning 17. So I think when I
Ah,
met you, I was 16.
when I started, I was 17,
Oh, wow.
and look, I turn 18 in the summers, right? But
Mhm.
uh, yeah, when I started, I was 17 and just turned 18.
Yeah.
So, but I'm so happy that I was just doing an interview with someone about some work that I did in El Monte, and thinking about when I went to Rio Hondo and what my experience there was like. It was the first place I started my college education,
Mhm.
and that I got to do all of the things that I've done in my life, painting murals and doing all of the work that I've done. Uh, and then getting a chance to come back and teach where I started. It's just such a beautiful full circle. It
Yep.
really makes me happy.
That's
Uh,
awesome.
So I get it. Okay, what are you doing? Oh, look at that.
This is more stuff. And I realized, like, from that Margaret's class and during that time of the pandemic, I'm really taking in everything that's happening around the world, because imagine we're all stuck at home and you're just
Mhm.
listening on the news. And this happened, let's see, I was kind of seeing how that first, was it like first in March, no one was on the freeways, right? There was hardly
Yeah,
anyone.
the
And
freeway's by my house and it was quiet.
yeah, I'm right by the freeways, and like it was less dust. It was
Yeah.
and this is when I've always been watching the skies, and I think blue skies always makes me the happiest, and it's kind of therapy for me. And I saw the difference of just like, wow, there's no pollution.
Yep.
There's
The
no
planes weren't
LA
flying.
mugginess, of smog, and it was blue. And I actually saw our mountains, and I was like, I didn't know the mountains were that close. So this isn't really like this. It's not LA exactly. It's kind of made up world,
Oh yeah.
but the first image was like, what I kind of always thought, like, what if it gets worse? So and I feel like that's
This
happening
drawing with the
now.
factories and the warehouses and the smoke going in the air. Do you know that the city of South El Monte used to have 3 smokestacks on their city emblem with big black smoke coming out, and it said City of Progress. They've changed it since.
I just don't know how people could move forward and realize, like, can you not see the effects that it has on the environment, or like, how can you not see? So I feel like I wanted to show the extreme difference of what do you want our future to look like. So
Yeah,
that's something. It's very illustrative, this work. It's the other what is
but
it, the left
it's
side.
done so nice. Is that gouache?
Yeah,
Uh,
gouache, and the black and white is charcoal. So
nice.
yeah.
I love
Okay.
gouache. I just really do love it. I
I love
love
how
the finish that it has. So satiny, so just, it's like velvet.
it moves like watercolor, and then you can build
Yeah,
it up like acrylics.
yeah, and easy cleanup.
Easy clean. I love that part. Yeah, and I guess this was my final project. I think you've seen this in person on
Uh-huh.
campus. That lot. I left it there, I think, during quarantine. I left it there for a while. Uh,
So This one,
Oh, yeah, I
that,
remember the
that's
project
so perfect.
just showing two contrasting sides. It's almost like the same project up here.
Yeah,
I did it. This
yeah.
is portrait
You
now.
can either be in the doldrums and just the down, the blues,
Yeah.
or sunny, bright, shiny, smiley.
And I love being in gardens outside. So I think that's my happy place, so
Yeah,
that's what I put myself in.
I like it. I like those little flowers.
Yeah. I think I use chamomile as reference, but I really meant for them to be daisies or something.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's kind of my wrap up of Rio Hondo. And then moving to Long Beach, I just went crazy.
Wow.
And this was in a show I did with my friends from Long Beach. I guess just before this fall. So wrapping up.
That's really terrific. It
Wow.
it's like part collage, um, the depth and the different things that you have coming in and out of this. It sort of reminds me of James Rosenquist. Uh, do you know who he was?
I don't think so,
He was
no.
a billboard painter, and
Mhm.
he became a painter in pop art, but he was always breaking up the space and doing almost like a collage of different things going on. And I'm seeing some of that in here. Your details are much finer. His were big and bold, but you've got, I mean, all the little things with the swan and the woodpecker and the what is that snake? It's
Mhm.
like
Like
a it's like a albino boa constrictor.
the more you look at it, you find new things and little pockets of stuff. And
Yeah.
this piece, it's called Shifting Chaos for a reason. I wanted to make it feel like you want these objects to come together and just fix themselves or go in the right place, but instead it's shifting to break apart, possibly. I don't know, but it's that's definitely how I felt when I was making this piece. And this was my first semester at Long Beach. And when I turned it in, it wasn't finished because it was just so much detail. My professor's like, it's okay, you
Mhm.
started it and you're at this point where it's good enough for the semester, but continue working on it. So I did finish it like just this past month
Nice.
for the show. Uh,
Nice.
and it's part of this series that I added, like my fire series. So let's see, this I put this together with it, more
Mhm.
fire images. And let's see, yeah, from 2020 to 21 I was just seeing all the wildfires that keep breaking out. I remember even experiencing the Malibu one that when that was going on. Me and my friends had the Getty Villa Museum field trip, but we
Oh,
didn't go because they're like, oh, we have to close it just in case if the fire starts coming closer. I was like,
and it
oh my
did.
God. So we ended up spending the whole day in just Santa Monica, the pier there, and watching during the sunset.
Watching the clouds cover up the sun.
And you could see when it got dark, there's just this glow in the distance, and that's the fire. I was like,
Yeah.
and you see on the news how those cars that are passing on the highway are melting. And I'm like, how is this even real?
Yeah.
But I felt like I had to capture it during these times. I don't know. I don't remember ever hearing, or at least in my time, experiencing wildfire this much. Like it's on a regular now.
Oh, yeah, but global warming doesn't exist. You know, it's just frustrating, all of the things that are so obvious, and people like that in denial still. They don't want to. No, we need the oil. We got to have oil. Instead of spending the time working on another plan.
Mhm.
It's frustrating.
There's so
Really
many
is. These are
environmental things.
beautiful, by the way.
Thank you.
Much more, much more painterly, much more
Mhm.
painterly than what you did. I mean, this is getting that paint on the canvas, and that other one is really tight. I mean, This is like the difference between classical painting and impressionism. These are very impressionistic, and they got teeth. It's these two paintings here are really bold and really showing what's going on and making a statement about it. I think that's really cool.
That's awesome. It's cool, like, because I haven't, being in quarantine, I haven't really been able to talk about these paintings.
Yeah.
They're all been stuck in my studio, you know? So,
Well,
yeah.
it's important to get things out there. I don't enough. Um, but I do tell my students, if you're not putting your work out there for people to see, it's just like talking to yourself. You're doing stuff, cool. But unless somebody's there looking at it going, oh, I like that, or I hate that, that's the completion. That's the completion of the piece.
Mhm.
And I just haven't been putting things out there as much. I show them to my friends and stuff like that. And my house is full of my nothing but my shit, and other little weird things that I collect. So I have too much stuff. Look at my wife even gave me this for the computer, how it frustrates me. I have this cute little screaming goat. You push it.
Oh my gosh. There's a viral video about a goat screaming like that.
Yeah,
Oh my
that's
gosh.
it. She has one, I have one, and when we get frustrated, it's just you hear the goat scream in the other room, and you know it's going bad.
That's me after every class because I feel like I've been staring at the screen for so long. It's ridiculous.
Wow, this one's even more expressionistic.
So this one, I would say it does look like fire, but when I was making it, I wasn't thinking of like fire. It was
Mhm.
actually, I was telling my friends how this was actually a painting I never thought I would show anyone or would ever come out of my room because it was like those paintings you would make like, I'm never going to show that to anyone. But
Uh-huh.
it was a very emotional painting and I made it when I was mad.
Well, it's beautiful because it plays nice warms and cools and neutrals against solid, highly saturated colors. And it's getting so much. Look at how that red and orange, it's just advancing. And it's got that whole swirly kind of thing going on about it. And it's coming out of this cool area at the bottom like a frigging tornado.
That was all my rage and anger, letting all my demons out on the canvas.
Hey, better than
This
letting it
was my
out
art
on
therapy
anybody else, right?
during 2020. This was because I think I had an emotional breakdown of like just being frustrated with school and stuff and
Yes.
other things too, just building up. And it was those days where I was like, I need to do something, I need to make something so I don't kill anyone. So I don't
Because
get my family.
before this COVID started, 2 years before, I had operation on my ankle and I couldn't go outside for months. And I was in the house by myself. And I work in the studio and then I don't want to do that. And then watch TV. No, I don't want to do that. Pretty soon I found myself just getting into this spiraling depression. And
Mhm.
you don't notice it till you're really, really into it. You go,
Mhm.
oh, fuck, what did I do? And so it's hard. It's a difficult thing to get out of. And then the next year they had to do the same surgery over because it didn't work. And I went through the same thing again.
Oh my
And the
gosh.
next year this started and my wife was working from home as well. And it totally eliminated that self frustration, that depression,
Mhm.
because when I started feeling bad, she's here. I could talk to her. She could talk to me. It's a team,
Mhm.
and we've gone through so many hard things in our marriage. I mean, we lived through the Whittier earthquake and all of that destruction, and
Yeah.
uh, so it strengthens that bond. That's why I was asking you about your brothers and sisters,
Mhm.
because I've been hearing that, excuse me, I've been hearing that from my other students that are on campus again. And I had them do a project where they did a rectilinear um, high contrast image of someone that they admired. So they
Mhm.
had to take photographs, break it into high contrast, make all the lines straight. So it's an entering into abstraction.
Oh
And I
yeah.
explained it to them that way. But this one guy did this beautiful piece of his little brother. And he said,
Oh.
yeah, until the COVID, I never realized some of this stuff about what he was into and what he was doing. And I really respect him. And it's his little brother. You know, it's such a
Mhm.
cool image because he just looks so innocent and so the world is right in front of you and opening up, you know, that youth.
Mhm.
It just captured it so nicely. And it really made me curious about how people have been relating to the other people around them, because it can go south too.
Mhm.
Um, you
Oh
can
yeah.
really have a horrible situation,
My
but
house
your
feels so
family is
crowded.
your family is
I don't know if I told you. Yeah, there's five siblings altogether. That's us.
uh-huh.
And over the pandemic, it felt like we were all little kids again, because we're all kind of going into our 20s. The youngest one is 12, so we have like teenage hormones all over the house,
Yeah.
and all these angsty adults like, I need to
Uh,
get out. So, but we've really, I think, bonded over that. And
yeah,
they're all comedians at my house. So
that's good. If you can keep a good sense of humor through these kinds of things, it's golden. It's
Mhm,
golden.
mhm.
Laugh
And
at the problems.
all my siblings love playing instruments. And over
Nice.
quarantine, we had a family project where my dad rebuilt our backyard deck and turned it into another room. So it's all like open windows, so it's a lot of sunlight coming in, and that's all our music instruments. And I think we've bonded over that because we
Nice.
have so much free time when we're not.
Did you play your ukulele?
I do, but now I have an electric guitar, so
Oh,
that has been fun. Yeah. And
yeah,
we
I
just got a
gotta,
drum set and we have like this mini band. But we actually really suck playing together. And we're
that's
still
great.
learning how to play, like, in harmony.
Uh-huh.
So far we're all like solo artists in our own world.
I like it that you're playing the guitar.
Yeah.
My over this thing, the February before all of this started, my best friend died.
Mhm.
And yeah, it was really hard because I couldn't go and see him. I got to say goodbye to him on the phone, and that's it. And but his brother cleaned out his house, and when he brought everything home, um, gave me a call and said, "Gee, I got all of Don's musical instruments here, and I don't, I can't keep them. You know, do you want these?" And so I got his instruments. We started learning to play guitar the same day, and his
Yeah.
dad was helping him, and my dad was helping me. And after a week, he was teaching me. You know, Don was just a musician. He
Oh.
heard it. He knew how to. He was amazing, brilliant musician. So I have his instruments, and it almost hurts them for me to play them.
No.
It's not the same thing. Uh, but so, you know, just they're very meaningful to me. Very meaningful. He was my first roommate. Uh, we did everything together for years. Uh, many first, you
Yeah.
know, and just like I get to talk to him once or twice a year, and it
Mhm.
was like we never parted.
Yeah. Those friends
Just
you just
good friends are like
catch
that.
up right where you left off.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. The beauty of having good friends. The thing of getting old is that they start dying.
Oh,
And
that's
yet
a lot to
nothing you can say
say.
to them, they just do it. So it's, I've lost two of my best friends and my cousin, who was more like my sister, all died
Mhm. Mm.
during this crap.
Yeah, I lost my grandma over, man, I guess it was this year. Yeah, it feels like it's been a long time already, and we're
Yeah.
all going through it. I remember even I can't I've also talked to a lot of students who also lost their family members, and it really stopped from making art. And I think this is one of the pieces, of course, during that time. I was just like, what the heck is going on? Why is everything falling apart? And like, so I think students need to put themselves in their art through those moments, or even if you can't, like, that's okay, you know? But I'm,
You know what it's like at Rio, and you know what it's like if the teacher leaves the classroom, everybody just puts their stuff down and sits and talks and blah blah. You know, it happens that way sometimes. I if I have to leave the classroom, go to the office, I come back and everyone is working. It's like they've been so deprived not being able to be like this that man, they're in there and they're cranking and their work
that's
is
how I feel.
just exceptional.
I feel hungry to be in the
Yeah,
studio, you know? Yeah.
exactly. Pam and my wife and Lindsay cleaned up my studio.
Ooh.
I
How was
can't
that?
I can't find anything. But it no, it looks a lot better. And it was just getting so dangerous because I was trying to do too many things. Like I'm doing
Mhm.
sculpting and I'm doing painting and I'm doing drawing and
I
I'm
can see
doing
you doing that wrong.
just, and it's only a bedroom,
Oh.
so uh, yeah, it's better now. I can move in it.
Oh my god, that's how I felt like adjusting in over quarantine. I'm actually in my grandma and grandpa's house now, just helping out with my grandpa and my cousins with me. But
Nice.
I this is the first time I have this designated room just for work. Before
Yeah,
that,
nice.
if you've seen my little studio, that's a studio and my bedroom. So
Yeah.
I've actually like stopped doing oils during the pandemic because my parents would be like,
What does
smelling my
it
room.
smell?
And you're like, you're working in here? You're sleeping in here? Oh, you can't paint in here. Just stop painting. Clean it in here. So I changed
Were
it.
you painting with terpenoid or odorless thinners and stuff like that?
I still had odorless. I tried to do everything, but my family's so sensitive. Like, they're not used to the smell. So they're like,
Right.
what is that stuff? What is
Hey, when I used to paint in oils, it was all paint thinner, linseed oil, and turpentine, straight turpentine.
Mm.
I learned to paint in B12. And the night that we discovered that paint thinner melts styrofoam was because we used to go at 9:30, we'd go over and get a cup of coffee and they had them in those cardboard cups. And then we would use the cardboard cups after we finished our coffee, pour in a little paint thinner, clean our brushes,
Oh,
and
yeah.
get ready and go home. Well, everybody went and got the coffee, and oh, look, they've changed the cups. And we went back and we did the same thing. And almost simultaneously, everybody went, what the hell is going? The cups just went, and they melted.
Oh, that's
Uh, it was a surprise.
oh, well, I have more stuff here. Is
Oh, cool.
Yeah, this is kind of the
Oh,
continuing process of this other one. And it was a magazine that I was doing collages, and that was our reference
mhm.
for the project. So here's just like a quick, um, here's where I started with the underpainting, and then I slowly filled it in. And there's some parts of
I
the
can almost see like a framework built into that, like an easel and a frame going in the bottom right, and then what in the finished painting, it's not as visible. It's like you obscured that a bit. It's still under there.
Mhm.
That's really cool.
And there's lots of parts here where I had to make up, like, let's see, this pomegranate is not in the magazine reference.
Hmm.
So I only had to make up this area, and this doesn't exist in
Granada.
my collage either. I had to make that up just so it's a lot of chaos going on.
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit.
Ooh, it says my internet's unstable. No.
Yeah, mine too.
Okay, hopefully we're okay.
Yeah,
I'll move
we're
on.
better now.
And here's also,
Another
okay,
fire
we're good.
piece.
Actually, this, I wanted to show kind of the progress of this painting.
Is this work on paper?
It's a loose canvas
Loose
that I
canvas?
just, mm-hmm.
Because I
And
was
this
seeing, is that blue tape around the edges and it's ripply?
is
So I know the substrate is moving.
yeah, this is another piece I didn't think I would have in the show at all either, or show this one. It was very experimental. Like I have layers in here. I was just trying to figure out color, and then I just had this fire, go on,
Yeah.
and I
I
had
really like the way
everything
it came out.
go. So that's another process, yeah. That
And
I've
look,
been
where
going
there's smoke, there's fire. It's amazing.
So I've been, I guess being at Long Beach, I've been really experimental, and
That's good.
I'm starting to be more abstract, which is fun, and but
Yeah, I
still
really
I'm still
encourage
doing
that as
studies,
much as possible.
and the studies have helped a
Wow.
lot. Like this is from the same my first semester there, was doing still lives, and I'm starting to put origami a lot, of these paper cranes,
I
in my
love it.
life.
I love how you captured the depth with the shadowing in the folds. Really beautiful, beautiful painting.
Mhm.
Nice. And
Thank
I love the folded steps.
Mhm.
Yeah, that is so cool.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
These were just color studies. And then this was the final.
Primary triad.
So I think this would be probably what I'm working on now. This was also
Mhm.
from my first semester that I never finished, and I was gonna put so much more stuff in it, but it's a big painting. These are two canvas I put together. I think they're both about 40 by 40 inches kind of thing.
Nice.
Yeah, so I put them together. And that was another thing, like working in my small room, I had to work on one canvas on a time because
Yeah.
I didn't have wall
Yeah.
space. I don't know how students are doing it at home. Like, because for me, it was hard,
Yeah.
you know. And here's my process again of how I started it. I was doing sketches. They're very quick. I'm just trying to figure out like how, I don't know what I want to do. And I have this setup where I like to physically see like 3D
Yeah.
objects and see how I
Right.
can paint that. Um,
I
and
do
then,
that. You know what I found lately? When I'm painting, I take a photograph of the progress and then I look at the photo later to see places where I want to make changes. And I've been doing that and it's different. The photo alters the way the painting is, and you're seeing it in a different way. And so it enables me to make some aesthetic decisions when I'm not looking at the painting.
mhm. I've also,
It's like somebody else looked at it, right?
I like using mirrors too, because
Hmm.
it's almost like a reflection. And in my old room, I have mirrors everywhere, and sometimes I just hold the canvas to the mirror just to see.
I tell people a lot, take your picture that you're working on, you need to see it with fresh eyes. Turn it upside down, hang it up on the wall, get a mirror and stand 5 feet away from it
Oh
and
yeah.
look at it. Because it's upside down and backwards. You're going to see stuff that you didn't see. We, as Jasper John said, the work is inside and outside. When you're into the work, you can't see it.
Mhm.
It's like going to a museum and seeing way too many seascapes. They're just bombarded. And this is the same thing when you're working on your piece. When I'm working, I want to give it some aesthetic distance. Go outside, go do something, and then come back and look at it.
That has been really hard over doing school at home and quarantine because
Oh,
like you could easily be stuck in your room for like I don't know the whole
yeah,
day, the whole day,
easy.
and
And
like
you can't get away from it.
mm-mm,
You know,
yeah.
that is really been there, done that. You know, I had, when I was in school, I had a wheel in my bedroom. Um, and I was doing ceramics and
Mm.
making things and then taking it to school to be fired. I did all kinds. I was drawing, painting, and sculpting all in my house. I had a human skeleton that my sister bought at a swap meet and gave it to me. I had the skeleton in my house for years. And sometimes when you get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom and the lights aren't on and you're walking and there's a skeleton standing there, it's a little disconcerting. Uh, but
Oh my gosh.
that was cool to have. I did a lot of work from that owning that skeleton. And I needed money and I sold it to the coroner's office at Riverside because they didn't own one. And people would bring in bones and go, is this human? They had nothing to compare it to. So
Oh my gosh.
I sold them my skeleton. I miss Sam.
Oh, wonder what he's doing now.
Yeah, it's in a morgue.
Oh.
Finally.
So this is like, I guess this painting, I'll finish it and I want to incorporate more of like this stuff of having paper cranes here. And I guess
Mhm.
this was one of my quarantine paintings where it's like this is my room and this was the mirror in the hall. This is like my I still have to put plants in here. This is my indoor plants. And
Uh-huh.
this was supposed to be the clock in my room. And it's kind of like a double um
Doubles for the sun.
yeah, almost. And I purposely put mountains because I feel like I've been stuck inside so often. I want to bring the outside in, and this was me doing
A
it.
great way to do it.
Yeah,
I
so
love it that you have the room too submerged, subterranean, and it's dark in there, but these windows are above, the doors above. This has like qualities uh, to me of Edward Hopper, who I
mm,
just really
love Hopper.
admire, and also Rene Magritte,
Mm,
for the surrealistic floating of a window and the curtain, the way it lays. There's It's just so hauntingly beautiful. And
mhm.
like you say, you want to put in some of the what is
Pa-
origami
Paper
pieces.
cranes now, yeah, because I think that's been a big part of just being at home. I always have them hanging in my room, and that's kind of like a little Easter egg I like to put in there of
Yeah.
a part of myself. And I've always had good memories. Yeah, like the 1,000 paper cranes. My cousins and I actually did that. Like,
Mm,
and they slept over, and I have this memory of we stayed up till 4 o'clock, just making
making
paper,
cranes.
and we talked the whole night, like, and it was such a good time, and I will always remember that as like a piece of my childhood or something. So I like putting that in there.
I did photographs one time and I put them side by side of uh, cranes returning to Texas,
Mhm.
sandhill cranes,
Mhm.
beautiful birds. So I had cranes and then I had a Chinese picture of cranes and then I had a picture of Long Beach Harbor with those cranes, you know. Uh, and yeah, there there's similarities sometimes. Um, the animal-like qualities that those cranes have, cranes that they do buildings with and all that, they do have animal characteristics. And I like them in my paintings sometimes, just to put the cranes in. Oh, cranes. No, beautiful.
Yeah, things in your life, sometimes you just gotta put it in your paintings, like,
Oh,
all the time.
yeah.
I feel like that's how my ideas start coming to me. It's like because
I
they look
love the mountain range.
in my room.
Is that Mount Wilson?
these are kind of imaginary mountains that I have. It's kind of how I feel when I'm on the freeway here and in the distance on a clear day when there's no
Mhm.
smog, you'll see them. And that's kind of how I felt during the pandemic, because during that first month when no one was on the freeways, that's what I saw. And so I
Yeah.
captured it's like this emptiness, no one's there. And it's, but the mountains are, you know. So I think that's what
Where do you live?
I'm in Norwalk. Well,
Oh,
that's mhm. And pretty close to school, but I'm right next to the 5 freeway. What was the other one? 3
605.
605, and the 10's under there too. So I'm really close to all that, the dust that just comes from the freeway. Yeah.
I grew up there.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in Norwalk, where the 605 and the 5 cross by Florence and Studebaker,
That's me. I'm right there.
Cecilia and Dalwood. That's where I lived.
No way.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
on the
Really?
corner. It's a 2-story house now. They turned
Oh,
it into a McMansion.
oh my gosh. Were you?
So
Because
when I
my,
went to Lakeside,
no way.
yeah,
My,
the
okay,
semester Lakeside opened.
my house is on Benfield. Do you know where that is?
Oh yeah,
To see, were we, could my grandparents been neighbors with you?
oh
Because
yeah.
that was the house, my house in Norwalk is the house where my dad grew up in and my grandpa bought when he came from the Philippines.
Jeez.
Holy moly, Ron.
What year did your dad grow up there?
Well,
50s,
it's 60s. I would
60s?
going to 70s, like late 60s.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say.
So he lived on Benfield, he lived by the Armijos.
Because we're on the border of Downey, right? Is
Yeah.
that, yeah. Oh my
That's what
God.
I told Lindsay I had to walk through 3 cities to get to school. Because across the street from my house was Downey, and then over the bridge it was Santa Fe
Santa
Springs.
Fe. My gosh, this is crazy. This really blows my mind.
Yeah. One
Oh
of
my,
my other students, Michelle Myra, used to live on Benfield too.
that's cool.
Great, great place to grow up. That
Mhm.
neighborhood right there, you know what that is? What barrio? When I was little, it was called Peaceful,
Mm.
right there. And then over in Santa Fe Springs, it was Candaranas, because that was a flood district back in the old days. And it was a little barrio right there by Los Nietos and Pioneer. And it went downhill, and there were lots of frogs, and they would be singing.
Oh my gosh.
So
Now
the gang is called Cantaranas.
it's all freeways now.
Yeah, the freeways did a lot to it.
And they even extended it more right on that, the 5 there. And
Mhm.
they moved another Florence exit.
They
Yeah.
took out the market. They took out all of the stuff there on the other side of the Florence Bridge.
Do
It's
you know
just nothing.
Sherry's
What's
Donuts?
that?
Sherry's Donuts?
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah,
there
they
was even a
still
Winchell's
there.
in
They
those
moved it
days.
though across from
Yeah,
Santa Fe,
yeah, they
right?
moved it over by Sam's Barbershop.
Oh my gosh.
Casey's used to be over there.
My dad used to tell me how he used to just walk, stop by there in the morning for donuts with his friends, and then they go to Santa Fe High School.
Yeah. When
Oh,
did he graduate?
oh, from high school?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I wouldn't remember. I
Él
don't
está más joven que yo.
know. I'll have to
Oh,
ask.
yeah, I graduated in 66. So he
Mhm.
probably graduated not even in the same, my sister graduated in 69. I know that.
Mhm, mhm.
But my teacher there was my mentor when I started college, and he would give me what supplies he could. And he was so helpful and has been my mentor and friend for all of these years, and he just died.
Mm, mhm.
Another pisser, you can't
Yeah,
be around him.
yeah.
Um, it's very hard.
this year we're all living through it.
Yep.
It's crazy. Yeah. All the students that I talk to, it's just even like working on their projects, they say it's hard, and I
Mhm.
feel that too.
It's all because you have to be self-motivated.
Hmm.
You don't have anybody there telling you to get to work. You've got to discipline yourself. And that is one of the hardest things to do.
Hmm.
I get it. I get it.
I think the only thing that's really getting me through is really the art group from the BFA program the friends that I've
Mhm.
made, and we've been working late into the night on Zoom or Discord, where we will we'll be having our drinks while we're working.
Yeah,
Yep, and it would be, I don't know, that's what gets me through. We're laughing the
sure.
whole time, and that yeah.
It's camaraderie,
Oh man.
sharing things. Boy, you'll have friends from this group the rest of your life.
Yeah. If anything, I could tell other students at Rio Hondo, you need to make, get a Discord chat just to keep those connections on and just talk to your fellow students, because they're all going through the same thing. They really are.
And as you progress, as you're out of school, those people are still going to be your contact, and you're going to go and talk to them because they understand things because they've been through it with you.
Mm-hmm.
And two of my best friends that I have or had, one of them passed, but uh, I know because they were in my class at Rio,
Mm-hmm.
and I still have lifelong friends from that time.
Yeah.
So it's such an adventure, such an adventure trying to go through life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's some people don't watch it enough. They don't look back at the story. And I think that's an important thing for all of us to do, is to have a glance back occasionally, and it helps you move forward.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we lost Chuck Close this year, such a wonderful painter, and somebody else who I really admired as a painter, what he did, and his his incident where his embolism went off in his spine and he became a virtually quadriplegic at first, but he kept painting. He kept painting and doing those incredible giant portraits.
His process
So
is crazy too. Like just how
yeah,
how do you do that?
I know. And his understanding of color. He knew how to do optical mixing and large scale. So you've got to really get back away from him to see what he did. But incredible, incredible. Just stick to itness of an artist. And it takes that. And I think that's something that you have in spades. When I'm looking at what you've been able to accomplish while you're working on your own at home. I mean, you're doing schoolwork, they're giving you an idea and you're running with it.
Mhm.
You're doing all of this stuff and it's part of your learning process. It's going to be really meaningful as you progress as an artist, having gone through this.
Yeah. And also
So,
like not only the prompts that they give me, I've also I found it sometimes hard like to do the prompts that I have to bring into my own personal life or whatever's going on out in the world. I have to put it in those prompts. Like, that's what gets me through because you just there's so much that's going on in the world. I
yes.
that you experience it, you have to have an outlet for it. And I think my work has just even this past year has helped me so much, and that's what I've been painting.
That's really great.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
I love what you're doing. Um, what else do you have to show? Anything else?
Um, I did also, let's see, hold on, let me stop sharing for a second so I can find it.
Okay.
Let's do this. I didn't have my studio space because I wanted to show like the adjustment that I had to make during quarantine, and I'm making another adjustment right now that I am living at my grandpa's house. So I'm kind of working on this room. This room is really
Uh-huh.
big compared to my, my other one. But let's do this.
How's your grandpa doing?
He's all right. Yeah.
Struggling?
We're all going through it together. But I go out with him as much as he can on the to the Torrance Farmers Market on like Saturdays.
Oh, nice, nice.
He likes it when I go to church with him, but not a church.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's nice spending time with him.
I, I was brought up Southern Baptist in Norwalk, and it was it was just brutal.
It's an experience for sure.
Wow.
So this is, I guess, the finished work, which let me show you what it started from, right here, the green room. This was
Mhm.
like our homeschool office room back in the day. And so it was no one's bedroom. And before I was living with, I was staying in my sister's room, and there's all three girls of us together. So I finally move out into this room, and this is kind of the process of it. We're painting it, clearing everything together, and here's the white room, and blank canvas for me,
Yeah,
and that's how it is. I even changed, I had these shelves up, and this was the quarantine summer project.
yeah,
There's adjustments that I had to make because going into Long Beach, my projects are getting bigger, and I would how I don't know how it would work in with my two sisters in the room. No way. We have a bunk bed with three beds in it.
oh yeah.
So yeah.
I saw a bass and an electric guitar in there too,
Oh yeah, that's the beginning of the music storage room.
and a
That's
cajon.
yes. Oh yeah.
Nice.
So there's been so much change.
That's the one thing that I really miss, is that making the musical instruments. I
Mm,
just loved that project just because of the imagination that people utilized and made up what they wanted to do. And some of them it came to fruition, and some it didn't. It's timing, a lot of timing, but that was very challenging. And just to be able to get people together and make sounds together,
mhm,
because that's how music starts. It's just sound, and you turn it around and you put this here and that there, and all of a sudden it harmonizes. And there's you can't play a chord with somebody else also played a chord that harmonizes and comes together without getting a smile on your face. It just feels good.
mhm. Oh, that was such a fun project too. And I remember messing up a lot too and just going through all the trial and error. That was like it
Bad
was
teacher.
challenging, but it was hilarious. I will never forget that. And another friend was also making ukulele with me. And then at the end, we could play together. We would trade instruments. Who
Nice.
sounds better? Or like, oh, how did you get that sound? Or like, what did you do? There was yeah, some of
Changing
the
ideas.
same thing, they work on the same instrument, but they're totally different at the end,
Yeah,
that too. Oh, I miss that.
yeah. And how they made stuff.
Yeah.
I've had people make ukuleles out of coconut bowls,
Yeah.
and just stuff you would never think of. And I really have loved that about it. It's an inventive project, and that's what I like the best. And I miss it. I miss it. 2D is a little more cut and dried, uh, but
2D is 2D.
I think the 3D class was fun.
Mhm.
I've had some challenging things happen in there, but um,
And the little bungalow.
yeah,
Iconic, Ron. I'll always remember that room.
that space. Oh God, it's awful. But it's real Hondo. I've been trying to develop a sculpture department, and it's like tooth and nail. You're just clawing your way through crap to get there, and I'm still not there. We haven't had sculpting at that school for 40 years.
Mm.
And it's a shame. It's really a shame. I think it's such a vital part of a program.
Mm.
So, and I'm not a sculptor. I'm a painter. I sculpt sometimes, but I never took a sculpting class. You know, it's just something that I do on my own, but I'm certainly not the best at it. But I really enjoy the energy that comes from the students, the inventiveness that they don't know that you're not supposed to do it that way, and they do it that way and it works.
Mhm.
To me, that's using your imagination, which is a tool that needs exercise. The more that you use your imagination, the more you utilize that in your work, the stronger it becomes.
Mhm.
It's like any other muscle that needs exercise. And imagination is just a fun way of running wild. And for a painter, Western civilization, you can only do a painting once.
Mm.
You know, not in the East. You can paint the same carnation, the same plants 40 million times, and each one is a different painting. It's like bands playing music in Los Angeles, and the next night they're in Detroit and they're playing the same music. You can't do that with a painting, right? But the Chinese think that every stroke is different. Even though you're doing it the same, oh, something's going to happen. The weight of the paint, the angle of the brush, it changes the way that that painting exists. Each stroke is immediate.
Mhm.
And I really do have a kinship to that. Like, I love to draw. I love line.
Yeah.
And I like pretty lines, you know, and sometimes they're not. And it's frustrating, but I try to draw every day if I can.
Mm. I did that during the pandemic too, especially being at home. Like in the beginning, I felt like I had a lot of free time. I don't know. It was weird. Yeah, I don't think now I don't feel like I have free time now, but like that's
I'm an old fart. I spend my free time going to the doctor. You know, I got like a bunch of doctors, and I have to go and see them every 3 months.
Mm.
And there's a cardiologist and a skin doctor and you know, and
Mhm.
my general practitioner. And it's I spend all this time in there. I started drawing the people they're always there on their phone,
That's right. You showed me. That's
you
you
know.
actually gave me a taco pen. I remember that when we were talking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it makes me laugh because I've been getting some really good poses. And the past couple of days I've been drawing students.
Mm.
They're working, and I don't, you know, there's just times when you don't want to be leaning over somebody's shoulder. You got to let them progress and then come back and talk to them. But if you're just there all the time, it's oppressive. It's oppressive.
Mhm.
And so I do something to get out of their hair for a while, and then I go back around to talk to them. I missed that. I really have missed that. And I'm enjoying that aspect a lot.
Mhm.
I hope you get back to school at some point, because the teachers there are amazing. They really are. I know that one of my former students that went there, his life drawing went from what was a pretty high level, just took off. And he works at Home Depot, and he draws people up on the stairs, and you know, everything. He just draws beautifully. And I went out with him and another ex-student, and we went to Lake and went painting for a day. And
Oh,
that was fun.
That's so nice to be out and just painting with other people. I miss
Yeah.
that. That's something I haven't done in a long time.
Okay, when we go and do that again, I'm gonna call you.
Oh,
I'm gonna
that
call
sounds
you. Just, you
great.
gotta come. Just, it's just so much fun, hanging around with other artists and doing stuff. It really invigorates me. Makes me want to get out and do more stuff. And
Mhm.
uh, my friend that we just hired, because Ada retired, we
Yeah.
hired Sandra Lowe as our
Oh, I
painting
love
teacher.
Sandra too.
Oh, she is just
She's
amazing.
so funny.
I have loved her forever. I just, her work is wowzer all the way, and she has such a funny sense of humor. And to
Oh
me,
yeah.
that when I was in school, I did all of my work in graduate school. All of my papers were pretty much written about the bullshit of art. You know, that at that time, everybody wanted to be Richard Diebenkorn, and all of the paintings
Mm,
of every student were looking like that. And I'm thinking, God, Anne Reinhardt, who was part of the abstract expressionists, but way different. I don't know if you're familiar with his work,
I
but he
love it.
said art is too serious to be taken seriously. And you gotta get that tongue in your cheek once in a while and have a little. Sandra, I adore what she does because it has a sense of humor to it, but it has a little bite to it too.
Mhm. I love her cheese paintings.
That it's the painting that's on in the show right now is her in the studio with cheese rolling down the walls. And
I gotta stop by them before it's over.
yeah, definitely, definitely, there's some nice work. Margaret has a couple of her watercolors in there that
Mm,
she's a mad woman, you
she's
know.
going at it too.
Oh yeah, and she's doing some amazing things right now and getting lots of shows and recognition, and that's
Mhm,
so good for her. I'm so happy for her, and I'm happy for the school because that's really great for us too.
mhm.
um, Robert's been doing so much with the gallery and everything. Robert worked up there the whole time. He's been on campus the whole time except for when he had COVID.
I remember, yeah.
That so ballsy.
He was he was my also my one of my last professors there for the semester. I had ceramics during the pandemic and I only got to glaze like two projects and I
Oh,
I never had time to go back and take my stuff and fire them. So I have all
uh-huh.
the greenware. Never been fired.
Well, you got to go back and just glaze them. And I want to go and make some planters.
Maybe I'll meet you over there.
That'll be fun. I, I think making things in ceramics was a big deal for me when I was young. I was in ceramics all the time, but painting just kept calling me.
Mhm.
So I did both for a while. I was doing ceramic sculptures and painting them.
And I want to do more. I feel like I only tasted a little bit.
Yeah.
And then we went
Well,
into the pandemic.
thank you for all of the stuff that you've shown me. I'm just amazed by it, and I love your I love your attitude. Everything that you've been into. I think it's so helpful, and it's so helpful for other students to find out what is that when you transfer, and I love it that you're excited about your professors, and even though you haven't worked with them on a one-on-one, it's all computer, but your work is beautiful,
Mhm.
really nice. And I like it that you put yourself into it, that you expand on your ideas. Look up that guy that I told you, James Rosenquist.
James Rosenquist.
He would The paintings were like billboard paintings, but he mixed up the subject matter, and his pieces were almost collage like as well, but he had that billboard painting style. but you know, billboards all used to be hand painted before they figured out how to print stuff that could actually last outside for a month. Now they can just print things digitally, but I always liked Rosenquist's work because he was getting snippets of information the way that you do, and that's what was attracting me to that first painting, where boom, all of those little things that you discover in the trip around the painting. Making stuff, sometimes I try to make myself really small. Yeah, Rosenquist.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Coca-Cola bottle and with the girl with the hair dryer on her head, that chrome hair dryer. It's magnificent.
Oh,
And Kennedy and
and these are huge, huh?
yes.
Man, oh, wow. Wow. This is, I also miss this, being in a museum.
Mhm. Yeah, Lindsay's working at a gallery right now, and I keep hoping she gets a job at a museum one day and can at least sneak a piece in. My friend Joseph, I'm going to take some of his ashes to LACMA one day. So I can put them somewhere in LACMA, you know, in a corner, a little bit
They
of
won't know.
ashes. Joe at LACMA.
Oh,
He was a very funny artist, and I always loved his work. I have a piece of his that's a little sculpture box, a plastic display box, and inside of it is some astroturf, and on top of the astroturf is that plastic fake dog shit. And then it's all sealed up in there, and then it has a gold name tag on it that says, "This is not shit."
oh my gosh, Ron.
So, yeah, it was very funny. You know, people kept saying, "Oh, your work is shit, man." So he responded. It's been fun talking to you, Amy. Thank you for
Always a
everything.
great time catching up with you, Ron.
All right, and I hope to see you up at the campus sometime. I won't be able to tell though because you'll be masked. Everyone is masked.
I'll surprise you then.
Yeah. Ooh, those eyes look familiar. All right. Thank you so very much, and I hope to talk to you soon.
Me.
Okay.
Okay, take
Bye.
care.
Take care of the neighborhood.
I will.